Hi, everybody. Today is October 22nd. This is the Wednesday CALPADS Q&As. My name is Alex Bondi, and I am a data analyst at CSIS supporting CALPADS. Driving for us today is Mr. Gary Gerwer. Hey, Gary. In terms of announcements, it's just Fall 1 is ongoing, right? We're currently in the submission window, and we want to also draw your attention to the suggested milestones, and that is in the user manual. If you go into our CALPADS user manual and you just go to the Fall 1 roadmap, you'll see calendar on there, but then also you'll be able to see, oh, and Gary's showing us how. Timeline, suggested milestones, and November 21st is the magical date that we're asking you to have 0 errors. So just keep that in mind as you're finishing your data populations, submitting your files. That's the big date there, November 21st. I don't have anything else. So Angela, did you have any announcements for today?
Yes, we did have a deployment yesterday, and just a moment ago, I realized I forgot to update the active and fixed known issues. So I'm doing that now. I usually do that on Wednesday mornings, and it just escaped me. So I'll hand that off to Kyron, and hopefully he'll be able to finish that during this call. And that was all I had today, Alex.
Thanks. Sean, CDE, any announcements?
From me, Dom.
Nothing here.
Awesome. Okay. Let's get to it then. We're going to start off with since question 1 says, for the UBA application submitted after September 3rd, can we update our SIS CALPADS, or do we need to wait to do the 3% verification first?
So if it's after September 2nd, then it does not apply for this academic year. So it would apply for the following academic year. And do you need to do that 3% verification prior to submitting the data to EDCS? Yes, you do. So your nutrition services department should be completing those verifications. And then upon verification, only then do you send up your data to EDCS. That's why we've given such a long time period to be able to complete that information.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Next up, we have Corey from Shasta COE. Question 1 says, we have a student who was initially classified as EL in 1415. They then transferred to a school outside California, T200. They returned to California in 24-25. Our school enrolled them on September 24th, 2025, but has listed them as EO in the SIS. The student's mother filled out a home language survey on September 2nd, listing English as the home language, but Spanish for first, primary, and by adults. This is triggering SENR 644F1, error in CALPADS. I'm not sure how to fix this. It doesn't look like the student was enrolled in a LIP and the student is no longer with our school effective October 10th. What do I do here?
For this one, I'm going to ask that she put in a ticket, Alex, just because we've had so many of these lately, and it's not even so much it's not even the SENR error, we need to be able to see what happened for the student to be able to go from EL to EO.
Right.
And the SSID number.
Okay. So, Corey, if you could please submit a ticket and give us the student's SSID, we can take a closer look. Thank you. Next up, we have Jennifer from Horizon Charter Schools. Question 1 says, does CALSAAS only receive information from CALPADS?
I can't answer that question because I don't know. We don't operate on CALSAAS. So I would assume, yeah, Ethan, you're correct. No, because the credentialing information alone comes from CTC. Thank you, Ethan. for that, yeah. So no, they wouldn't receive it, but who else they might receive information from? Again, I don't know that portion.
Moving on to Natasha from Escondido. Question 1 says, if a student with disability transfers to us from another LEA and their school of residence does not offer a program to meet their IEP needs, can we no-show the enrollment for the period of time needed to review the IEP and determine an appropriate placement? Or do we need to enroll them at school of residence and record absences until they transfer to the correct school in our district and begin attending receiving services?
That's an interesting question. I don't know that because the school where they live within the boundaries of doesn't have a program means that you can't or shouldn't provide services immediately. Like that's kind of IDEA, right? But I don't know exactly what the best process is in this. So I'm sorry to ask Natasha, but please send in a service desk ticket and put my name on it with the SSID and the other information. And please expand on why the school of residence can't provide these services.
Thank you. Moving on to Teresa from Plumas Unified. Question 1 says, we are using the preschool program setting decision tree. Thank you, it is a great resource, and want to make sure that we have determined the correct program setting and service location for the following scenarios. 1, preschool age student does not attend any preschool, will receive speech services at the elementary school in our LEA. Program setting equals 204, service provider location. Speech services, special education service location code is 890, service provider location. Scenario number 2, preschool age student does not attend any preschool, will receive speech services at daycare located within our LEA. Program setting equals 200 home, speech services, special education service location equals 205, home community-based infants preschool age.
I think both students could have program setting 204 service provider location. The daycare should qualify that. Yeah, and as Audrey states in her comment, you wouldn't use home unless they are literally receiving services just in the home.
On to Heather, question 1. A district has a student who was mistakenly identified as EL at initial enrollment, though their siblings are EO. The student performs well academically but hasn't been reclassified due to test anxiety. Would it be appropriate to correct their status to EO using the home language survey error code? I would say yes, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we do have that correction code equal 4 ineligible student tested.
Yeah, it says if it's an administrative, the definition though of that one says something about administrative error. And so under these circumstances, under the details that we have, Heather, in your question, it sounds like it may have been, but I would double check just to make sure. And if so, then yes.
Okay. Next, we have Sarah. Question 1 says, I was not able to attend the CALPADS CSIS data governance fall. Where can I get a copy of the presentation? I think Matt is here. I don't know.
I don't believe it's published anywhere, so I will type in the answer box Sarah Matt Clark's email address, and you could try to see if he'll share that with you.
And Matt did say that he would share out all this information to the people that were registered in the training. He will be doing that tomorrow morning.
So, Sarah, were you registered or not registered?
They can't register. Only COEs can technically register. I thought.
For data governance?
Yeah, yes. He's going to send it to the watch party host, and the watch party host is going to distribute to all the people that were supposed to attend.
So, Sarah, I would talk to your county office then. Angela, she says she wasn't registered. And so,
Or register to the watch party.
hmm.
Alrighty. Moving on to Thea. Question 1. According to Flash 297, cafeteria funds cannot be used to pay for Sunbucks verification. Our CNS literally wants nothing to do with Sunbucks because of this blurb. Can you please clarify or expand on the statement and its intention?
I don't think that I am. I think I'm going to refer that over to nutrition services. And for that one, you can put in a email to the education data collection. I'll toss that into the chat. Lathea, as soon as I get out of the chat with Marshall. And we'll get your question over to, if you submit your question to the EDCS, then we'll get your question over to the nutrition, sorry. So it was like the nutrition office for them to be able to clarify that, because that's not us, that's not the CALPADS office being able to write that. That was our program office supporting in our documentation.
Okay. Next, we have Suanne. Question 1 says, per the code set, PR is listed as both a state and country. Oh, Puerto Rico, I think. Has it been determined which it should be? If reported as US, another user reports a CALPADS error. I think this was a question, I don't know how many weeks ago, but it was the country was PR and then the state was US-PR. I think it's in our valid code set.
You're correct, Alex. And so in short, Suanne, it's not a correction. It's just how it's being identified. And so for within the file specs, it's how it's being identified.
Gary, I don't know if you have the valid code combo open. And then there's a tab for state and country. So the expectation is that the country be submitted with a PR for Puerto Rico, and then the state would be US PR. So that's the combo that CALPADS is expecting. Oh, are you getting, so Ethan is saying that he says, I don't think you can pair US Puerto Rico with Puerto Rico. So I think just report, if you're getting an error. Oh, okay. Try this out. Try this combo, PR as the country, and then state would be US-PR. If you're getting an error using this combo, then let us know for sure, because CALPADS, this is what CALPADS is expecting. Yes, it's listed both as a country and as a US state. I think all of the US territories are like this. Okay. I'm going to move on, but if I didn't answer your question, just type in a new one. We're going to go on to Jennifer's question 1 says, has the 16.21 report been fixed, or do we need to wait until tomorrow? It's still showing some overdue meetings that appear incorrect. We had a fix for the original bug, and then there were some lingering tinier bugs with the 16.21. I don't know what the status of that bug is.
It's in testing right now, so it should be on track for next Tuesday's release.
So I would say, Jennifer, hold tight till next Tuesday. And then if you're still getting errors, please submit a ticket with SSID examples and we can take a look. Next is Jovi. Question 1 says, how are a student with disabilities exited each year if they are continuing grade 12 for several years? I'm unable to add the 25-26 SCNR for a student because they have an E230 with a exit code with a 100 completion status for the previous academic year. So it's my understanding that once a student gets a high school diploma, so a completion status of 100, the student cannot be on an IEP anymore. Dominic, correct me if that's wrong.
That's absolutely correct. Once a student graduates with a regular diploma, they are no longer eligible for special education.
Nor does CALPADS allow a subsequent enrollment, actually, now that I think about it. So once the student gets a high school diploma, it's like you've achieved the maximum that you could achieve. And so we're not expecting anything else. Unless the completion status for last year was incorrect, in which case you could just change that completion status and then CALPADS should allow you to enter a new enrollment. We do have a FAQ for students that are going to be enrolled for transition services. And so I'm not even going to go into that. I don't know if that's your scenario. So if it is and you want guidance on that, let us know and we can point you to that FAQ. Next is Ava, question 1, who says, we have a student with disabilities who is attending a private school, but whose parent declined SPED services. Do we need to keep an open enrollment with our LEA? Enrollment code 50. Dominic, I don't know if this has changed. I'll let you answer this.
Sure, I don't even know if I have the right answer, but for CALPADS reporting purposes, no, but I do know that for proportionate share and tracking that for special education for students with disabilities in private school, there is an expectation that if a student qualifies, they're eligible until the next reevaluation. So even if they're not participating, they are still a student with disabilities that is eligible, and you may have to report that in some way for proportionate share. And as Audrey notes, there is a private school proportionate share web coming on November 12th that may provide more details. I've not been privy to those conversations.
Next up, we have Lou. That's question 1 says, greetings. I arrived late, but I get a recap of the announcements. Thank you. There were really no announcements, just that Fall 1 is ongoing and that just a reminder that the suggested milestones is on the user manual, as Gary has up on the screen. And November 21st is the magical date that we're expecting 0 errors. So mark that on your calendars. That was it. Question 1. Should students who are not enrolled with us this 25-26 school year be on our 25-26 Fall 1 CDDs? We have a student from 23-24 popping up on our CDD screen. I think it depends on the validation.
Yeah, there was one that I had that same question and I had to reach out to our requirements team, and it was the way they implemented it was a span of dates. So it was within that range. And I'm sorry, I can't remember what DD number it was that was like that. I want to say it was special education related.
Sounds about right. So it depends, Rigoberto. If you want to let us know what validation it is that you're getting, we can take a closer look and see if you should expect only within the academic year or if what you're getting is valid. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's a SWIDS 406.
Give me a second. I'm going to check my email.
Students must only have one initial entry start date.
I've seen that where they've had different initial entry start dates from an older record, and then the newer record has a different date. It's supposed to be the same.
Is that Meredith?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Lurking back there.
I was. It is a warning validation, and there is a caveat that that student must be enrolled on census day, but what I'm not seeing is that the error is triggering for that LEA where they're enrolled. I think it is triggering for the more recent SWDS record. So if yours is the most recent SWDS record, there are two with a different initial entry date. So one of those has got to get fixed.
And if you still need more clarification, just submit a ticket and we can take a look, give you more info. Next is Carla. Question 1 says, we have a student who recently enrolled in our district from another California school. Upon review, we found that the student does not have an English learner status listed in CALPADS, despite having previously attended a California public school. We have reached out to the prior school for EL information, but have not yet received a response. Our EL coordinator has determined, based on documentation that in the student's cumulative file, that the student should be identified as an English learner. However, we do not have an initial EL start date on record. Could you please provide guidance on how we should proceed in CALPADS regarding the student's EL status and the missing initial start date?
Okay, so it goes back to the initial these questions are really, really long. Alex, I'm sorry, I felt like you were reading for forever. So the sum of it is student records. If a records request needs to be done by your LEA, a formal records request, please place in a records request. That's where it starts. Okay, and so that HLS, that original HLS from the family, would be in there if the family completed one. Okay, if the family did not complete one, then your LEA is then responsible for completing that HLS. Okay, we can't, without an SSID, Carla, I can't see anything. I don't know, although you say that, yes, the student attended another California public school, I can't verify that with any certainty, or I can't see if they had a no-show record for that school. I can't see if they attended for 1 day, if they attended for 3 years. Okay, if they attended for 3 years, I can't see CALPADS not having that information.
Yeah, there
But
would have been an error.
Exactly. So that's why I say this leads me to think that it was a very short-term enrollment, and to which, again, they may or may not have that information. However, again, that's why I go back to that records request, and your LEA, your time clock is ticking. And so, especially if it was this school year that LEA put in, a no-show record. I don't know, or if they attended 1 day for that LEA. So start with your records request. LEAs have, I think it's 10 days or 7 business days, I believe. I can't remember that rule off the top of my head. It's in Ed Code though. And that way to be able to get that information. If CALPADS doesn't have it when you requested that SSID, that's kind of like key there. So I get that your EL coordinator requested a response from them, but that's not a formal records request. So, and honestly, if your EL coordinator sent me over an email, I don't know who they are. And so in order to legally give a record to another LEA, just provide them that document.
Okay. We're gonna move on to Bavita from Poway Unified. Question 1 says, can you please advise on 1.18 column O? It used to say Migrant Ed Program and have blank in them, but now it changes to Title I Part C, Migrant, and only have options for yes, no. So basically what was blank until last year is no now. Is that correct? Oh, and then it says column 15. And Gary has our mapping guide up on the screen. And column 15, yeah. So that was the change this year for our new MEPS extract, right? That's where it's getting this information from.
This description may not be updated though. It's still looking at the
Oh,
135.
whoopsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That should,
Ty's
so
here. I let him in.
Yes, the mapping guide should be updated and it should be referencing the new MEPS extract, the EMSN, the match that we do automatically now. But you're right. So what used to be blank before is now no if the student is not a migrant.
Aaron, can you update that one, please? Pretty please.
Thanks for pointing that out, Babita. I don't think we would have caught that. Next, we have Ivana. Question 1 says, I'm getting an error plan 0433 for a student who is in first grade with an IEP and no history of an IFSP. Plan type is listed as 100, but the suggested resolution says the system is validating for plan type 150 and to populate the plan type. I am not sure how to fix that since the plan type is already populated with an IEP 100. Plan 0433 is invalid plan type code for program type code.
Yeah, we'll probably have to take a look at the actual student to answer this one. So Ivana, please send in a service desk ticket. Please include the SSID. And any other information. Sorry, I was reading Audrey's suggestion. Yes, for IEP students, there should be nothing in the program type code for IEP students. So we would just need to see what's going on with the specific transaction that's triggering this for you.
Right. We're gonna move on. Babita says, thank you, you're welcome. Rebecca. Question 1 says, I wanted to confirm that it is acceptable to submit either a CALILA TBD or EO for a TK student relative to the student's primary language. Is this correct? Yes. I think, in fact, you're going to get an error if you don't give us something. CALPADS is expecting a CALILA status for a TK student.
I think there was some misinformation because I got a couple tickets where they were saying they heard that they didn't have to put an EO, and I said, and I answered the question just like you did, Alex. You have to put something in there.
Yeah, TBD or EO, those are your only two options, right? So next we have Larnie from Oxnard. Question 1. If we are able to identify a student as foster, but for some reason CALPADS is not identifying them as such, is there anything that can be done on this, like communicate it to CALPADS so the student can be found as foster maybe? Yes, we have a local match that you can do. Oh, and Gary has it up on the screen. Can you show how to get there again?
Oh, sure.
I just missed it, but it's under online maintenance.
That's right here.
The only thing is, as it says it on the screen there, you have to have either the case ID or the client ID. If you have one of those, just enter the information on there, and then you can do a manual match this way.
Again, just because someone is foster youth does not mean that they're going to automatically appear on your report. They have to meet there are certain LCFF requirements, Arnie. And so, yes, what Alex is saying is absolutely correct. You start there, SSID and either the client ID or the case ID to see if there is a match that can be returned.
Okay. And we are done. Questions? Hang out for a bit just in case people are typing more questions in here. Oh, there we go. Ethan, question 1. Is there a quick summary or resource we can point to that explains what type of foster student would not qualify as foster to CALPADS?
Yes, there is. And that's a very good question, Ethan, that, oh, please. There is like a whole grid.
It's also in
I'm gonna
the
find it.
user manual too.
Is it? Thank you, Angela.
Of course, it's in the user
Everything is
manual.
in the, yep.
Yeah.
If you just
Thank
search
you,
on
Kyron.
foster youth, there's a quick description and the ed code section that it's referencing.
Anyone? Gary, can you drive to that one by chance?
Did someone post a link?
If
I
you just
thought we
type
were-
in foster youth, I think it's the first link that comes up if you search in the user manual.
Oh, user manual? Okay. This one?
That one there. Hopefully, Ethan, that's what you're looking for.
Awesome. Okay. Next is Suan's question 2. It says, what caused CALPADS to fall down and go boom today? No notifications were listed on the listserv. You know, I had it in my mind that I was going to say it in my announcements, and then I completely forgot. I don't know that we know what went wrong.
But Alex came up with the solution for it. She said in our team chat, they should just try turning it off and turning it back on again. And a couple hours later, that's what they did, and it worked.
I love that response, Alex. It's like for us, when our computers are shut down, we're like, yeah, just log out, log back in, be
Yeah.
fine.
Was it the IT crowd, right?
Yeah, the
It's
IT
just-
crowd, yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know what made it go boom. It went boom.
Yeah.
I was in it and I was like in a meeting and I was like, is everybody else's CALPADS working? I was like,
I think
working for
Dominic
me.
got the brunt of it, though. He happened to
Right.
be giving a presentation and was asking users he was presenting to pull up 16.21, and nobody could.
Oh,
So
sorry,
sorry, Dominic.
Dom. Yeah, that sucks. I was just trying to answer Sam's question. It took me like half a day because I was like, oh, by the time I got back to it.
Okay, next we Larnie's question 2 says, follow-up. If there is a match, we then assign our LEA to that foster youth. Sorry, we've not done it before, but it's been a big ask from us. I think if there is a match, then it just magically works, right? And the student appears in your reports. I don't know if there's anything else.
That's correct. And if not, and if you believe that that student should be on the foster youth list, then Larnie, is it Larnie that asked it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, sorry. Then you put in a ticket.
Well, I think even before you put in a ticket, because there's not much we can do, right? It's not in the file that we got. So I would say contact your foster liaison. So I can post. Would you agree with that, Sean? Start with your
Yeah,
foster
for
liaison.
your region. Yeah.
Yeah, for your region. So I'll post that in the chat with how to get a hold of that person.
And then they should be able to confirm, Larnie, if that student is a foster youth, and if they're confirming that yes, that's a foster youth student. They're the ones putting it in the list, to be truthful with you. So they should be able, or they have the contact to the social worker that's putting it in, and they should be able to populate it and tell you like, oh, it'll go in next week's update. It's been added in, it'll be going in next week's update. But if it's still not in there and you're not seeing it, we might have an issue with the SSID. Then that's when you put in a ticket to us, especially if that SSID has been merged. That's when me and Angela try and step in and work some wonders.
Next is Carla, question 1. For ELOP program, would their eligibility start date be their application approval date or when they start attending the program? Karen is typing an answer. I don't know, Karen, if you wanted to verbally say it or put him on the spot.
I was
Here's
referring
oh,
There he
so
is.
the LIP file does not include any program start date to
Right.
begin. Yeah.
mhm.
So it is considered a program, but it's not actually in the SPRG file that it requires a program date.
Correct.
I think, but more generally, if there's, should they start counting the days as their participation days? It's not even called participation days, right? What's it called?
I think
Is it eligibility days or something? Expanded learning program days. And it can be 0 if they are eligible, but they don't participate. So it seems the way I read that, I would think it would be the date they become eligible. You start counting. What does everybody else think?
I would agree.
There is a blurb further down under the ELOP section where I believe it may allude to when the form was filled out, because essentially any student whose form was submitted are eligible. So I guess that could be used as the date.
A long flash.
There, further up a little bit.
Further up?
Yeah. Up,
Probably when to stop.
up. Where the parent, something says about the parent. It's something. it's in this section. If you type, I just answered one for an LA earlier this morning.
I think it's under where it's right there where you have it, Gary. There under field 22606. And it says an enrolled student means any student whose parent guardians have signed an expanded learning. Is that what you're talking about, Karen?
Yes.
So it's like the second paragraph. It's italicized.
Yeah, and in the CFS, the definition is a little bit conflicting. It says the number of distinct days the student participated in one or more ELPs for the school year, which may be 0 if the student enrolled in the program but did not participate.
Mhm.
It seems like it's saying 2 different things to me. Remotes flash 305 that you have up?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Hopefully that didn't confuse you. But essentially, that like Karen said, the start date isn't included in the LEAP file that you give us. However, locally, it does make sense to us that you would get the start date to be when the parents signed. Okay.
Oh, and then
Moving
Alex, hold on before you move on to Ethan for foster youth. I put in the definitions that are posted to the CDE website because those are really comprehensive.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Carla next. Question 2 says, there was a CALPADS Fall 1 checklist that was really helpful. Is there one for Fall 2, end of year 1 and 2? Yes. CALPADS, or sorry, CALPADS, Kyron. Sometimes I call Kyron CALPADS. Kyron posts them on the roadmap. So for every roadmap, we have a checklist. And Gary has the Fall 2. We don't have the roadmap for end of year yet. Actually, I think maybe they can access it, right? If they just search
This
end
end
of
of year
year.
because it's changing. I think they can access last year's, but not this one.
Right. But if you wanted to get ahead, you could use last year's.
Yeah, because the
It's going to
collection
be out of sync though, right? Because we're flipping everything on its head
That's
for end of
right.
year.
Just when you thought you had
Yeah.
it all squared away and switch it up on you.
But Fall 2 is there, so it's up to date.
Yeah. And Suzanne says that she believes Fresno County used to make one. I think we may have stolen it from, I don't know who we borrowed it from.
Rebecca?
Yeah, one of them. All right. Chantel, question 1 says, did they try a different browser for CalPads for the IT crowd?
I love
Yeah.
it, Chantel. I was like, and Sue Ann's too. Did you clear your cache? I'm like, yep. I was like, I was trying all of those before I actually put in. I was like, hey, look, mine's just spinning. I was like, it's not just me here.
Yeah. Nora's question 1 says, for COEs, regarding the recent JCCCC data reports for 23-24 records, is there a crosswalk for the JCCC report process to help us to update our CalPADS records for use this year?
JCCC data.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. I know, because sometimes people put these acronyms in here and I'll be like, what? And y'all be like, Sean, you don't know this. And I'm like, no, I don't know. Nora, can we get some clarification on what JCCC means? I'm thinking juvenile court, but I don't really know. And I'm just making it up.
She says, never mind, I'll try again later. Okay.
I was right, though. It means the juvenile court and county community schools.
Maybe there's other COEs that can provide Nora with some guidance.
I put what we have on it in the chat.
Hang on for a couple of minutes just in case people are typing in questions.
The active and fixed known issues is up to date now. Thank you, Kyron, for helping with that.
All right, got a couple more. Carlos, question 2, I think. It says, will the new AB 1230 regarding expulsion rehabilitation plans have an effect with CalPADS reporting this year? Sean, have you heard of?
The last bill analysis I didn't even remember doing, and I did it. So I'm looking it up now because I don't know what AB 1230 is off the top of my head. So we are working on it right now.
And while you're checking
No,
that, oh,
that's
no.
not. It's not an you have the section number. It's not an education code. What's Gary showing?
Know what that was.
Okay.
The data guy.
It's 5 days ago, AB 1230 Bonta Pupil Discipline Expulsions Procedures. So when I
Here
click
it
on
is.
it, it brings.
I got it now. Yeah. Section 1413.2. It's a welfare. Oh, it's related to Medi-Cal. That's not an ed code. It's the State Department of Healthcare Services. So go ahead and put in a ticket. I can review this, but most likely my response is going to be, it doesn't, nowhere in there do I see it. I mean, it's not an ed code.
Sean, it looks like there's one to amend Ed Code sections 48916, 48916.1.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mary. I so appreciate it. And yeah, go ahead and put in a ticket, Carla, and I'll gladly follow up with you.
Next from Suan, it says, I hope Dominic's dog is happier today than yesterday.
They're both
Dominic, do you
snoring
have an
loudly,
update?
but thank you. Yeah, they're both asleep.
Next is Eric, question 1. I created a ticket, but I need more clarification. We enrolled a pre-K student last year, just a few days before school ended. So he was not tested until this year. The parents signed the documents that their child does not qualify. How do I exit the student? Using a 1-day enrollment for 1 day from last year or 1 day from this year? We only have pre-K SPED. If the student did not qualify, then that would be a no-show, Dominic?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would typically no-show a pre-K enrollment that didn't qualify.
And so would you suggest that the no-show be done for this school year then? I don't know that it matters if they no-show.
So I mean, last year, the student was enrolled for a few days last year. How was that one exited? And there's a new enrollment for this year. I don't know. And now the dog's angry.
Eric, maybe if you can type in the ticket number, maybe then we can, yes, preschool, no school, just services. If you give us the ticket number, then maybe we can have the agent circle back and give more clarification. Maybe that was me. Sorry. I'll keep it on here, just waiting for the ticket number and we can circle back. We're going to go to Larnie's question 3. This is for Dominic. I had asked this last time, but you weren't in the call. Are juvenile court schools aware that they can no longer use enrollment code 30, short-term enrollment for SPED? Am I understanding this correctly? If yes, was there a flash or notification sent out about this?
I think I had been providing guidance that we expected like juvenile court schools to primarily enroll students with a primary enrollment if they were receiving services. I don't know that ever really was correct. I think that I might have misunderstood, but I think they are able to still use short-term enrollments up to 30 days, but on that 31st day, it's going to give an issue. Otherwise 30 is acceptable as far as enrollment for special education tracking purposes and other things.
Okay. And Eric gives us the ticket number. If we can look that up, or I'll copy and look into it later. Next, we have, Eric's question 2. If all my preschool students are only receiving SPED services such as speech, I should have them as enrollment status 50 rather than 10, correct? Incorrect. As a rule of thumb, what I always say is that if a student has an IEP, then they should have a status of primary.
Yes.
Even if they're not actually enrolled in your schools, they're preschool and they're just there for special education services, IEP should have a primary enrollment.
That's correct. And it should be in the reporting data for students with disabilities. Preschool students across the board are enrolled with a primary enrollment unless they are in private school.
Mm-hmm.
Can I go back to my question? It was something about the AB. So I need more. I can't remember who asked the question. And then Meredith, if you found some other stuff, if you want to slide it in for me, that'd be great. I put it in the chat too, but I don't know if you saw. I know we're all multitasking. The AB 1230 died pursuant to the Constitution. Yeah, so I was like, so whoever's putting in the ticket, if I can get some more information on it, that'd be great too. Because I need to know the specifics of the ABs.
And Eric, for your question one, I found the ticket. It looks like the student exited last year after about 11 days of enrollment with an E155. And there is a current preschool enrollment, both primary enrollments as of August 13th. So I would say just go ahead and no show the current enrollment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Suanne, Carrie Newley says it must be a 10 primary enrollment for SPED students.
Yep, I agree with Carrie.
Next is Sharmila. Question 1. There is a student who came from San Diego. The ELAS code is EL for 24-25 school year reported by San Diego, but we are unable to add a CLEV file for the kid. Any suggestions? Should the status date be the date that was entered by San Diego or the date the kid started with us? The CLEV status.
Go for it. No, go for it.
Well, here's how I understand it. The CLEV status follows the student. So once the student is identified as EL, you don't have to submit another CLEV status for that kid, even if it came from a different district. It's just going to follow the student until they reclassify. So you don't have to change the status. There's nothing really for you to do. I don't know if I'm misunderstanding the question, though.
I think you're
Thanks,
right,
Alex.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking that maybe they were asking, oh, somebody moved it. Kyron. So, Kyron, I don't know what you typed, so you may have to come off mute, but I was thinking maybe they were talking about the LIP program to go in with it for the dates. That's what they were asking. That's what I was. Yes. So she said yes, a LIP. Okay. So that's a local decision, Sharmila, whether or not you want to be able to backdate the LIP to your LEA or when the student became eligible for LIP. That's a local decision, and that was a flash before I got here. So I don't know what flash that is. Anybody? Or where it says that. I remember Brandy covering it in training. That's my best answer.
And then Suanne says, sorry, but Carrie said that juvenile students must be 10, not 30. She said it about SPED students at juvenile school. I think that's a local practice, right? I think some COEs say we're always going to do 10s, but then others want to keep the 30, and CALPADS allows for both.
It does. After the 30 days, though, it's 30 calendar days, school days after the 30 calendar days, though. The COE should pick up the student as a 10, not remain as the 30, though, because the initial LEA should end.
Okay, 2 minutes till, well, 1 minute now. So I think we're good to call it. We will be back here next week, same link, same time. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for everyone for all your help. Appreciate it.